And good evening to you. Welcome in to a Tuesday night, a cold Tuesday night across the Southland. I'm John Blankenship, your host of Tennessee Tuesday, along with my co-host Jason Boshears. And we have a special guest that'll be with us tonight, the Commander-in-Chief of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, Mr. Donnie Kennedy. He'll be joining us tonight with some information that you're going to need to know about. So we're excited to have him and another great program. Jason, it's been cold across Tennessee. I'm going to give you something special here. This is a little view outside of my house that you can't see too well right now because it's gotten dark, but it's still a sheet of ice across Humboldt here in West Tennessee. Jason, it may be the same where you are, and Donnie, the same probably where you're at tonight.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
And very, very busy. And tell us what's been going on.
Okay, I'm lost. Who are you talking to, Jason or Donnie?
Let's go with Jason. We got the video right there. The video's popped up different, so we're back to normal. It's one of those nights. We'll blame it on the ice. How about that? Well, gentlemen, y'all jump in. Jason, Donnie, tell me what's happening in your area. What's it looking like weather-wise?
All right, in North Louisiana, we have a lot of ice. Where I live in Union Parish, the parish that was named for the original Union, not Abraham Lincoln's Union, by the way. Here in Union Parish, we were spared of the freezing rain, so we didn't get a lot of limbs and power loss. So I still have power, but you go 15 miles to the east of me into West Monroe and Monroe, and gentlemen, it's a war zone. They're absolutely, they are hurting bad. I've tried. It took me about 3 hours to go to West Monroe and back. Normally this afternoon to return a rental car, it would normally take less than an hour. So, and I passed up over 70 in one area, 70 utility vehicles trying to restore power. It is a war zone. And I'm going to go ahead and mention the disaster relief fund while I'm here. We're talking about the weather. I just want to remind everybody in Tennessee and anybody that's listening anywhere else in the Confederation that if your family, you or your family, SCV member or direct family member needs some assistance, we do offer through our disaster relief fund, the relief fund, some assistance there. You have to work through if you and your camp know somebody that needs help, you got to work through your division commander, and he'll get in touch with the chairman of the relief committee. And it's I always call it the disaster relief, but I think it's on the website, it's the relief committee, SCV relief committee, and you can find that on the website. So with that much, I just want to get that out, make sure remind everybody, and those who are not affected by this, a $5, $10 little donation to the disaster relief fund will certainly help. We need to help our fellow members out. So I encourage you to do so.
Absolutely, Commander. I know that's something back when we had the hurricanes that was used. Folks needed assistance. And it's great that we've got this in our organization, that we're able to help our membership out. And as needs arise, especially like this, I'm sure there's going to be some. And we do have a means for folks to be assisted through the SCV. And as we continue this evening, Jason, you've got our disclaimer going tonight. You want to read that for us?
Yes, sir, I will. Thank you, Commander. The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast, they're not those of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It's General Executive Council. It's not the opinion of any division, any brigade, any camp, any subsidiaries. It is strictly the opinion of the person that is expressing their opinion.
Absolutely. Well, you see there on the screen, Derek Glover helped us out tonight, and there's that link if you want to go exactly to the relief fund there of how you can give and donate and assist. Again, reach out, as the commander said tonight, to your Tennessee division commander if you're looking for Tennessee, but if you're in another state, reach out to your division commander, and they'll get that information to the relief committee. So there is that website tonight. We're glad to have Commander Donnie Kennedy with us this evening. We're going to be talking about several things that he's got going in his role and organization-wise, so we're glad he came on with us tonight. Let's say hello to a few folks that we've got joining us this evening. Of course, we saw Derek helping us out already. He's up in Jamestown, staying frozen there. I think that's the case pretty much across West Tennessee and Middle Tennessee and East. We're cold. Also joining us tonight, Ryan Rogers there. of course, in Alabama. So hope he's staying warm down that way. Some others joining us in, a lot of our regulars from Jacksonville, Florida. I wonder what it's like down that way. Is it warm down that way? Are they seeing much cold temperatures? Probably a little warmer than we are.
Well, I noticed when we were, let's see, today is Tuesday. On Sunday, it was 87 degrees down there. And this was when we were having, I think, a high of about 20, 21. And I think they were 87 and set a record down around Orlando. Now, I'm understanding that they're going to get cold. They're going to get down into the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, so enjoy that warm weather while it lasts. Again, there's Daniel joining us tonight, saying hello to him. A lot of great viewers are always with us on Tuesday night. We're so glad that they're here. Al as well, checking in from Tullahoma. I hope he's doing well. Chuck Roydhouse up there in Lebanon with us this evening. Hope things are well up that way in the General Hatton camp. There's Roy Hudson. He's also down in Florida saying hello. Him and Linda saying hi tonight. Hope they're doing well. Glad they're with us. Others that have joined in, Donald Gaines there with us this evening. Good evening to you as well. And a couple of others will touch in here. Where's the McBride camp, Jason? Donnie, y'all know, help me out there.
I'm afraid I'm drawing a blank on the McBride camp.
Well, we're glad they're with us tonight.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you, Mr. Johnny Jenkins, if you would jump back on there and tell us the city of the McBride camp. I'd would love to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody kind of let us know where they're coming from.
Yeah, Rich is joining us tonight. Of course, hope things are well there in Jackson County over in Middle Tennessee. Daniel, of course, with us tonight as well. Let's see who else we've got here. David Pope, of course, you can hear David on Friday nights in his show, the Douglas Southall Freeman Group. He has shows on Friday nights as part of SCV Chat. We appreciate him. And Rich also touching in, Jason, with us tonight. Minnesota has lots of ice as well. maybe a different version of that. Also here with us, Toby Oakley, Sean Hill joining as well. Hope everybody's doing good. And, man, we've got a lot of folks on tonight, a good show. Commander Kennedy, I think you're drawing all the folks tonight. They want to see you and hear from you.
They like to look at something ugly every now and then. I don't blame them. That's why freak shows did so well in the county fair, don't you know?
Oh, no. David Daniels with us tonight, him and Lydia up there, as well as Commander Price, just down the road from me in Henderson area at the Ike Stone camp. Lots of folks here with us tonight. And Jason, it's been a busy day. Talking about up your way, something that you wouldn't think would happen. You've had windows installed in the cold.
Yes, I did. Y'all remember back over, I guess, since about October or so, we've been having work done on the house. You know, we put the vinyl siding on and we ordered windows, and they said, well, they'd be in. We ordered them. It was back in October, first part of October. And they said, well, they'll be in and we'll put them in somewhere around Thanksgiving. Well, windows actually showed up on Friday. So it was only about 2 months late. And they brought them here. And I said, well, yeah, go ahead and unload them. And, you know, next thing I know, I got a call about 7:15 this morning. And they say, well, we'll be there at 8:30 to start putting windows in. So, and I tell you, at least it wasn't yesterday. Okay, you know, yesterday morning we started at 11 degrees and we got up to about 22. Today we started at 9 degrees and we ended up getting to 34. So it has been interesting to walk around in the house. The central unit is going, Jacksonville was 30 this morning and 56 this afternoon. Kim Hofecker, it's good to see you. And while Kim is on here, Kim is a chaplain down in Florida. Yeah. We're going to be having a chaplain's conference, according to Tom Hyder, our chaplain in chief. So expect to see something about that very, very soon. And there'll be an announcement about that, and I hope to see you there. Hey, Dr. Murphy.
Yeah, he's on tonight from Murfreesboro. So, Jason, you've been busy up your way, new windows. I know you'll be warmer eventually, maybe warm before you really get to experience some of that.
I tell you what, the house I'm living in built in 1904, and we had the original windows. So I can already tell because they just put windows in. They replaced 17 of the 26 windows today. Now they didn't get the trim put back on, and they didn't put the caps on, the new vinyl. But they got the windows in, and you can already tell the difference. You can. So it doesn't take much, especially 120-year-old windows.
Absolutely. I know how that is. Same way with our house, an old house. I love my old windows. You wouldn't get me to get rid of them. I love the wavy glass from ours. Is 1905, 1906.
Wow.
I love them, but it gets cold this time of year. Roy
Yes,
Hudson, they're also telling us in the 50s and 30s at night. So still a little warmer than we are. Springfield, Missouri, checking in there. So there's where they're out of in Springfield. So
that's the McBride camp out of Springfield, Missouri.
there we go.
I'll be at the Missouri Division reunion at the end of March.
Yes,
So I'll see y'all fellas.
I'll be
And
there.
Also checking in with us there. Let's see here. Kim has to say Jacksonville, Florida, no snow, no ice. We don't know what kind of ice he's talking about. I mean, it could be two different kinds, but we'll be careful tonight. As Jason gave us our disclaimer, we'll be cautious. We don't want to get demonetized or muted.
Well, or they just remove the video. Yeah.
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Yep. I agree with that. Also, jumping in, Jim Collinsworth, our division chaplain, saying hello. He's just right down the road from me, about 10 minutes down the road. Lots of folks joining us tonight. We're glad to have you here. We've got several things to talk about. Commander Kennedy, after our first break, will be telling you about several things he's got going on that needs to put out to our organization and wants you to know about. So I hope you'll stay with us for that. Also coming up, we've got some stuff happening in the Tennessee division that we want to share with you, some news there. We'll do that later on in the hour. So that's all to come this evening. We hope you'll stay with us for the next hour and 20 minutes, however long this goes this evening. And you guys watch, and we'll be here with you. And we do thank you this evening. So let's go ahead, Jason. And we want to take our first break, and we want to say thanks to our sponsors this evening, our Patreon sponsors. We couldn't do this without them. scvchat.com. You can go to learn how to be a Patreon supporter. And Jason, there's several different levels, right?
Oh, yes, sir. There's several different levels you can join. I'll go ahead and I'll pull up the Patreon. You can go and see it there. Patreon.com, go to SCV Chat. You have what they call the Feed a Moose level, $2.50. Y'all have heard us talk about that. They have a $30 level. They have a $10 level, a $30 level. $30 level is the merchandise level. It's where you start getting things after so many months of continuous support. Because you'll set it up on Patreon, and money will come out every month. And then they have the sponsor where you actually sponsor a show, and you actually sponsor SCV Chat. And we have Dr. Chris Cummins. He is one of them. And if you saw the show last night, we have a very new sponsor, and that is Past Commander-in-Chief Larry McClooney and his book, Paradox of Freedom. There he is sponsoring SCV Chat for that. Now, you can do that yourself. You can do that. It's $80 a month. But what that does is that goes to help cover the cost. And if you saw the show last night, you heard the conversation of what it costs to run one of these shows. Yeah. And it's not, you always go in your pocket. Well, let's just face it. All of us that are in the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we're always reaching for our wallets. Okay. Because we know that it costs to be a member of this organization and to do the things that we want to do.
It costs money to do stuff, to be active, to honor our ancestors, to preserve our heritage and our history. It takes money to do that. And that's the reality.
Let's say that you want to go to a division reunion. That takes money. Want to go to a national reunion? That takes money. Let's say that your camp has a project you want to fund, whether it's a symposium, or you want to go to Stephen D. Lee, or you want to do Southern Crosses of Honor. The money has to come from somewhere. And we have a lot of things going on there at HQ. You've got the 21st Century Confederate Heroes. We got the Bricks and Pavers program. That's the beautification, the walkways of remembrance. Then we have the Forest Plaza. We're still going to be, you're going to hear some news about that coming up very, very soon. And that is going to be, there's going to be a huge brick and paver deal coming out from that,
Mhm.
because with the 21st Century Confederate Heroes, there's going to be a paver that will go down on the walkway. If you've been to the National Confederate Museum, where you are there at Robert E. Lee, and
Yeah.
you go to turn to walk toward the final resting place of Nathan Bedford Forrest and his wife, when you start that walk, that's the walkway you're going to be on. You're going to have the Looney Family Cemetery to your right. You're going to have Simeon Cummins on your right, Confederate soldier on the CSS Alabama. When they went into South Africa, they were refitting. They needed some meat. He went inland. They had a hunting accident. He got shot in the chest with buck and ball. They buried him in a local cemetery there, a local family cemetery. Sons of Confederate Veterans bought Elm Springs in 1992. They found out that, and they asked, would you like to have one of your own there at your general headquarters? And they reinterred Simeon Cummins there in 1994. And then you're going to be walking out to the grave site in the plaza of Nathan Bedford Forrest. Top of Nathan Bedford Forrest head, he's going to be 21 and a half feet in the air. And it's just going to be, 50 feet wide, 75 feet deep, with Forrest 21 feet in the air. It's going to be an imposing deal. None of this just falls out of the sky. There's takes people that makes this happen. And it's either doing it financially or people boots on the ground. Yeah. And that applies to everything that this organization does. So your dollars that you give toward this, it goes to buying equipment. It goes into buying software. I mean, the software that I'm paying for now to be able to do, the ads that you see on there that I've been putting on, I use Canva for that, and because I had to go to Canva because publishers going away, October of this year, Microsoft is going to stop sponsoring or supporting publisher. And I've used Publisher. So all of a sudden I had to go out and get something new. And Canva has been the replacement for that for me so far till I find something else. But to be able to edit videos and everything else that we do. And so our sponsors that are part of this, I want to thank Chris Cummins for his sponsorship of this. And I want to thank Larry McClooney for coming on with the Paradox of Freedom. And the Kennedy twins, they sponsored an entire season with their book, with the books that they did. So, the sponsor stepping up is a big deal. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. We appreciate that, Jason. Let's go ahead and take our first break, and we'll come back and we'll be talking to Commander-in-Chief Donnie Kennedy of the SCV right after this.
Was your great-grandfather a traitor or a patriot? Today's politically correct are trying hard to take away the heritage of the brave Confederate soldiers who fought and died for their land. But one thing is certain, they can't change history. Those Confederate soldiers were fighting for the same reason soldiers fight today. They were fighting against homeland invasion. We believe that the desecration of the bravery, patriotism, and honor of those men should not be allowed. They were outmanned and outsupplied, but they were never outfought. They were proud men who believed in fighting to protect their dignity, their homes, and their families. If you're the male descendant of a Confederate soldier, we'd welcome you to join with us in the preservation of that heritage. We're the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Check us out on the internet at scv.org or call us at 800-MY-SOUTH. That's 800-697-6884. Sons of Confederate Veterans, dedicated to preserving the reputation of men like Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and your great-grandfather.
And welcome back into Tennessee Tuesday and SCV Chat. I'm your host, John Blankenship, joined by our co-host, Jason Boshears. Commander-in-Chief Donnie Kennedy is our guest this evening. Gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed revamping of that old commercial from a few years ago. That's the late, great Jack Parnell out of Memphis that did that ad for me several years ago. So we hope you enjoyed that, and that's something you'll see shared around a little bit more on social media as we promote our organization. And we're glad to have the leader of our organization with us tonight, Donnie Kennedy. And Donnie, you want to kind of jump in and tell us about some things you've got going on in the national organization level?
Absolutely. First, I want to say thank you for that ad. That was great. We need to get that out in front of a lot of people. I've been to that cemetery in that park there in Tennessee, there right off Old Highway 51. And I love it. It's beautiful, and you cannot miss that flag.
Absolutely.
You have to be blind to miss that flag. If you're blind, you don't need to be on the highway driving. That's all. So I really enjoyed that. Great job. And I've got a few things I do want to cover. First of all, I want to remind everybody that we have coming up the Stephen D. Lee Institute lecture series coming up in, oh my goodness, in February the 28th. And we've got an outstanding group of presenters. We've got Dr. Thomas J. DiLorenzo. Y'all might remember him. He was the guy that really kicked the bucket over with about Lincoln, with his Real Lincoln and Lincoln Unmasked. Dr. Lorenzo is now president of the Von Mises Institute in Auburn, Alabama, and he'll be speaking to us. Now, this institute, we're looking at the South 250 years after the Declaration of Independence. So we're going to look at the genesis of the Declaration. How did it get started? What does this declaration say? Who authorized it, et cetera, et cetera. And then each of our presenters will take that document and look at it real closely. We also have Dr. Jeffrey Adicott, and he has written several books, especially dealing with some of the atrocities that the Yankee troops committed against the South during their invasion. And he is a well-known historian and really, I call him a political scientist more than anything, but he teaches in Texas at the university there. A very well-known fellow. Y'all probably seen him before. Very dynamic speaker, good fellow. And then most interesting speaker that I like because she's unique. Her name is Dr. Wanjuri Joya. She is from Kenya.
Okay.
She is a Rhodes Scholar, got her PhD in Oxford, not Oxford, Mississippi. I'm talking about the Oxford in Great Britain. Mm-hmm. And she is a strong defender of Western Christian civilization against the neo-Marxist attack. And she was really active in Great Britain and got a lot of heat from the woke mob. So she came to the United States, and she said when she got here, she noticed they were doing the same thing against the Confederate history and Southern history and traditional American history. And she is the also associate at the Von Mises Institute in Auburn Avenue, and she'll be speaking also. And Ron and I will be speaking there also. And our MC will be, of course, the dynamic Paul C. Graham, our gentleman that is the head of our heritage operation, chief of heritage operations. So mark it on your calendar. Come on down. It's going to be in the Raleigh-Durham Airport area in Hilton, Raleigh-Durham Airport in North Carolina. Y'all come on down, get signed up, where you can register at www.stephendleeinstitute.com. So we'd love to see y'all. And we need to support these type of institute and get a lot of education and a lot of enthusiasm going.
Commander, when is that date again for that? Give folks that date again.
February the 28th. And in May the 2nd of this year, we will have our traditional SCB homecoming and pilgrimage there at headquarters. Now, this year, we're planning something a little special. We're going to have a memorial service and a dedication of a memorial bench to H.K. Edgerton, a strong defender of the cause. And we have a memorial bench that will be placed somewhere on the pathway or near to the Forest Plaza, and he will be also enrolled in the 21st Century of Confederate Heroes paper there also. So we want to dedicate those things. So we will have a memorial service and dedication there for our great friend and patriot, H.K. Edgerton, who unfortunately passed away. He's on the other side of the river with his fellow Confederates. So y'all be sure to mark that down. That's May the 2nd. That's the first weekend in May.
Commander, do you care if I jump in there and mention his funeral services again? I know that's coming up this weekend.
Yes.
And I've got a message here. Somebody asking me to mention that. And since you said that,
Please.
Those funeral arrangements, of course, the visitation is going to be this Friday, the 30th from 4 until 8 there at Hart Funeral Home in Asheville, North Carolina. Then the funeral service will be Saturday the 31st at 2. And someone has asked, are they live streaming that service? I haven't seen anything with that yet, but if we do, we'll be sure to share that out on the channel. And again, I believe they're going to inter him on the 2nd, I believe, as well. So that's coming up, and we'll be sure to put that out for those that are interested.
Good enough. And like I say, we all know HK. I had the privilege of marching across the top of Louisiana, HK, when he made his big famous march in a Confederate uniform carrying a Confederate flag from, there you go, from Asheville, North Carolina down to Austin, Texas. And HK, when we went past Grambling State University, which is the predominantly black college, traditionally black college in Louisiana, HK marched right on the uniform and engaged those young people in some heated discussion, and they couldn't get the best of HK. And when they left, they were scratching their heads thinking, what has just hit us? And HK was an enthusiastic supporter of the South and a good friend of the Kennedy twins. We really enjoy getting to know HK. Now, also, another thing I want to point out, you got your Confederate Veteran magazine by now. You'll notice you've got some postcards in there. Folks, I know it's simple, but it's sometimes seems silly just to put a stamp on an envelope, on a postcard and send it off. What good is my little envelope or my postcard going to do? Well, like I told you, I had the pleasure of being in Oxford, Florida this past weekend, where it was 73 degrees when I left there Saturday at noon. And when I got home, it was 20 degrees in North Louisiana, but I made it home anyway. But as I told the people there, I had to cross the Mississippi River in Vicksburg. So I had to leave early and get there. But always remember, that is the biggest river in the United States. But yet, that river is nothing but the compilation of billions and trillions and quadrillion droplets of water. Every drop of water went to making that river what it is. That postcard that you put a stamp on and send in, that you may think, well, this really doesn't matter. If these people who are receiving these postcards, if they only get 100 postcards, it won't make an impression. If they get 1,000, that's pretty good. If they got 30 or 40,000 postcards, then they'll know those sons of Confederate veterans. We might need to talk to them when we start talking about Confederate issues. Now, right now, if you're listening to the news, and the conservative news is just as conservative commentators are just as bad on Southern history as the neo-Marxists. Right now, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, is being called the second Jefferson Davis. People throughout the North that are not abiding by or fighting the ICE efforts in their states, they're being called Confederate states. Now, this is ridiculous. It has nothing to do with true history. It slanders Jefferson Davis. It slanders our Southland. We need to be able to give our opposing viewpoint, and we won't be able to give it if those people at Newsmax, Fox, and all these other, if they've never heard of us. I can't pick up the phone and say, hey, look, I'm the commander-in-chief of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and I want to talk to Jesse Waters about this issue. It don't happen. I can send them a certified letter. It don't make any difference. But if they get 35 or 40,000 postcards and they keep getting them every 3 or 4 months, they will eventually understand that we are out there and we need to be contacted. So that's one thing I want to be sure. Use those postcards. Every issue of the Confederate Veteran until I get out of office. And if whoever is the commander-in-chief after me, if they wish to continue, great. But we'll be having postcards being mailed to different people. Use those postcards. One of the things that we are doing right now, the Confederate Legion is pushing. We bought about 500 copies of the, I think it was a November, December issue of the Confederate Veterans. And we are offering those 5 copies to any camp that will just contact the chief of heritage operation and say, I want some of your Confederate veterans. The only obligation, if camp whoever, if we send you 5 copies, you are obligated to find 5 people in your community who are not SCV members, but 5 people who may be interested, who may have an interest in, quote, the war, or an interest in political activity, or it may just be your city councilman that you know he's pretty good, but let's send him this. They will get information about the Sons of Confederate Veterans. And that, again, it puts the political class and it puts common people on notice. There is a big organization out there, and this is a nice magazine. It's a way to get our face in front of people who don't already know. By all means, take advantage. All you have to do is call or email the chief of heritage operation, and he will send you the 5 copies. It won't cost you anything. We've got, I think, 500 copies, 5 per camp. When those are gone, that's it. So if your camp wants to be involved, you better call quickly, because we've already sent out quite a few, but we've got more to send out. So let's do that. Coming this year, gentlemen, we're going to have some major elections in this country. Please take note of the Get Out the Vote ad that we have on the Confederate Legion site of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. It is a non-political ad. Strictly, we can run these type of ads, and it simply tells the community, it's a 30-second ad. It tells the community that the Sons of Confederate Veterans, America's oldest veterans organization, encourages all Americans to get out and vote. Be a patriot. The Sons of Confederate Veterans encourage you to vote in this election. We're not telling people who to vote for or who not to vote for. We don't endorse political parties, but we're getting the message out to the community that you need to get out and vote. Now, that does 2 things. Number one, it helps people to remember to go vote. But guess what? Those political leaders who have been stabbing us in the back, they hear this too. The Republican Central Committee in your area, they'll hear it. The Democratic Central Committee, they'll know that, those Sons of Confederate Veterans, they're getting kind of busy. I don't know if we want to aggravate those folks or not. The reason the political establishment has been so quick to turn against all things Confederate was simple. It didn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
By us letting them know we got an effort to get out the vote. In Georgia, they're doing a great job of registering people to vote as well. We can do that. That does not cost. Hey, I like that. I don't know who said that, but that's good. If they know, we will grow. And if the politicians know we're out there and defending our heritage, they will not be so quick to turn against us. 2 other things, and I'll back off here, but we also have in April, I'm encouraging every division to put up a Confederate billboard. Get in touch with Lieutenant Commander in Chief Tony Griffin, and let's take a look at these billboards. You still got time. You can get them up. And and if you can't get them on an interstate highway, get them on a major highway. That Highway 51 going through Tennessee there. Hey, that is a great highway. I like it because I used to travel that highway years ago when I was a kid, before the interstate was established. So we need to have, every division needs to have 1 or 2 of these billboards up. So let's try to get that going. Now, one last thing, and I'll leave y'all alone. Have y'all seen the Dixie Defender? We have one for the gun show. What we're producing now, this one I'm holding in my hand, is the Union Parish Dixie Defender. It is a Dixie Defender to be given out in the local area here in Union Parish, to let people know that Union Parish had some really historic Confederate veterans who came back from the war and built Union Parish into what it is. There's 3 articles in here about Union Parish people. This guy here on the front page is George Washington Bolton. This guy is from Shiloh, Union Parish in Louisiana. He became Speaker of the House of Representatives in Louisiana after the war. He became the first president of the Baptist Association in Louisiana, and he was president of the Louisiana Bankers Association. Very impressive. And he was a Confederate veteran. And some of the things this man said, and I wish I had time just to talk about him a little bit, but one of the things he said, he was bemoaning the loss of a good friend, but he said that this good friend died in the cause of Southern independence, not to defend slavery, but for Southern independence. And he said, Bolton said he would stay as long as he had to in defense of my country, is what he said he was doing. There's a gentleman on the back, Elijah Ward, who the Ward camp here in Union Parish is named after. He is another political leader. Now, these are Union Parish people. It's local. It's local. But you'll also notice, I'm going to hold this up, there's a nice big ad for the Sons of Confederate Veterans, talks about our museum, Elm Springs. We've got QR codes that you can, have videos, much like what you've seen there. It lets people know not only is this organization local, but it is a major national organization. This type of effort, you give these out at festivals, at gun shows, any event you go to, museums, you can give them there and give them out. These things will let people know that the Confederate veterans are people who built our community. We ought to honor these people. If people know about local Confederate veterans, they will not be so quick to support politicians who want to take these monuments down and ban us from parades, etc. So these are just some ideas which we are pushing and will continue to push to get our message out to John Q. Public. They need to know, and when John Q. Public knows, the political establishment knows, and we begin to have a system set up where we can defend our cause effectively. If the politicians know who we are, they will not be so quick to jump on the BLM Antifa bandwagon to pull down monuments and to ban us from marching and parades and that sort of thing. So that's what all this is about. It's just a matter of what, I hate to use the term propaganda, but that's all it is. It's information getting to the general public to make sure that they understand who we are, who they are, and why they should be proud of their Southern heritage. So with that said, gentlemen, I can't think of anything else that I'll have to say. I'm sure there are a few things I would like to continue to say, but I don't want to take up your whole program. So, John, I appreciate it. And Jason, I just really appreciate all the help you've been given the organization in the last couple of years, especially helping me out. So I just want to say thank you. You and Ron have made my job so much easier. So I appreciate y'all.
And I appreciate you, Commander. It has been a pleasure to serve with you really for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of stuff together over a 10-year period, and we'll continue to work together. We've got a long way to go still.
That's right.
Well, gentlemen, while y'all are both here, let's mention this. And Jason, I know you've kind of been behind putting some of this together, SCV Success, and you have just shared a new one of those. Do one of y'all gentlemen want to talk a little bit about that tonight?
No, I guess I could. Commander, were you there for the?
No, I was not.
No, sir, I wasn't. From pictures I saw, I wasn't able to make it. I had something going on that time and wasn't able to. But the Raphael Sims, camp number 11 out of Mobile, they lost the Raphael Sims statue that was on Government Street. They lost it a number of years ago. They were able to get the original granite base, but the statue itself is in a museum down in Mobile. And the Raphael Sims camp raised the funds and had a bronze statue made, and they rededicated it. Now, that's not the original one, but they have the original base, the original granite base. but that is a brand new statue of Raphael Sims, and it is on private property that the Raphael Sims camp number 11 owns. So this is everything that they have done to do this. They've done a tremendous amount of work. It is at Fort McDermott. You can go, you can see it, you can visit it. The camp down there has done just a tremendous amount of work. And Commander-in-Chief Kennedy and I were talking one time, and it was brought up that we don't advertise when we have good things go on. Something bad could happen, and it gets talked about for months. It gets dragged through the mud all over social media. But if we do something good, like have the statue up, what happened in Jacksonville, where they were able to get the monument and to put it up, to what happened in Andersonville, where we were able to go and have that memorial service there. Those, they just don't get talked about. So we come up with this idea of this SCV success. And we've got another one that has been worked on. Florida has done it again. They have put up a new one. Well, they got one back and were able to put it up for the Cow Cavalry. And you're going to be reading about that on SCV Success as well. So we've already had a number of them. Tennessee's fixing to have one, because we're going to talk about the victory that we had there in Nashville, having to do with the Parthenon and the memorial that was there. That's another one that we're going to have. But nobody talks about our successes. And that's the only point that this is to let people know we have victories. We have good things that happen. So that was the whole purpose of this, and just to get it out into people's eyeballs, let people see it. Because some people, I've heard numerous SCV members tell me, we never win anything. We never do anything. Why do we even try? Well, folks, we do have a lot of victory.
And if I can interject here, I want our people especially to know and to pass this information along. Yes, the enemy have taken a lot down, but we have put a lot more up. The enemy have destroyed a few, but we have established new monuments more than the ones they destroyed. And a lot of times what happens is that the enemy of BLM, Antifa, whoever, they will say, remove this monument. And yes, we'll go to court and have a settlement where, okay, we'll remove it, but the municipality has to pay for the removal and place it in a better location. Here in Louisiana, I can name at least 3 monuments where that has happened. And the monuments are in a better location where more people who appreciate those monuments will see them. And this is what Jason is talking about. Our people need to know that. Our SCV people need to know that, so they can pass that information on to the general public. And one of the things I want to encourage the people in Tennessee, be sure that every camp you have has somebody that's designated as your heritage operation individual. Be sure that individual is on the Telegraph, is signed up for the Telegraph, that he listens to the SCV chat and programs like this, so that he can get information and disseminate this information to the camp members and to push the camp to be actively involved. Very similar. We have a gentleman in our camp in West Monroe. I got an email from him today, not an email, but a text message in which he informed the membership of a certain project, said we need to be busy on doing this and this project. Whenever you have these postcards that come out, he needs that heritage op individual needs to be able to contact your members and say, hey, look, get those postcards in the mail. If you don't want to mail them, bring them to the camp, and the camp can sit down, and the camp itself can write them out and mail them. It doesn't cost that much, but it has an impact. So every camp should have a designated heritage operation officer. He doesn't have to be heritage op. He could be your lieutenant commander, second lieutenant commander, and this is one of your obligations. And that needs to go up to your brigade, to your division, and also to the national, so that Paul Graham, the chief of heritage operation, when he needs something done, he can pick up the phone and call that individual in your camp if you're having a problem. Say, hey, look, we've got this CSU, we've got this thing, this program that can help you on that. Just let us know. So we need to be more communicative, and this is one of the things I'm encouraging every camp to have a heritage officer. As I say, you either can elect one or you can make it part of your first or second lieutenant commander's responsibility. Mm-hmm. The camp is the one that decides that.
Well, and I'm glad that you brought that up. My camp's created, Sam Watkins Camp, we've created a position called the HPO, the Heritage Promotions Officer.
There you go.
We're going to have a fellow by the name of Chuck Roydhouse coming on in the next couple of weeks. We might end up having him this coming week. We'll get all the details worked out. And he has a whole program on the Heritage Promotions Officer, mm-hmm. because that is one of the most important people in the camp in a service.
Absolutely.
Role. Yeah, and it's and he actually wrote up a thing on it, and I read about it. And where this come from was, if you'll remember, we had a Confederate Legion workshop mm-hmm. there at Elm Springs, and that was one of the things that was talked about, was creating a Heritage Promotions Officer, mm-hmm. and that's where this come from. Chuck Roydhouse went home and he wrote up a whole guidelines to go by. And he showed them to me, and we talked about it, and I put them in there, and my camp adopted them because they go, yeah, and it's part of their constitution now, the county part of the camp bylaws, to where we have a Heritage Promotions Officer, because that person is, like you said, he's critical for receiving information where we have victories and getting the information out. And, it takes it to his camp to everything else. So, yes.
Absolutely. Good information tonight, gentlemen.
Yeah, so
something all of our camps need to work on.
Oh, yes. And I want to thank you for bringing up the HPO. That's what him and I call it, the Heritage Promotions Officer. Mm-hmm. And that's come strictly out of the Confederate Legion workshop.
Yeah. And I want to encourage everybody, if you're not a member of the Confederate Legion, join up. $50 is all it costs you. You can donate more. That money goes to help pay for these Dixie Defenders, these Confederate Veterans magazines that we're giving out, ads that we run, especially these ads during the political season, folks. We need to get these get out the vote ads out in the general public. We've had a lot of good success on talk radio, but we need to get this on country and pop stations also. And I've had no trouble whatsoever with radio stations. Once they hear the ad, they say, okay, no problem with that. So you should not have a problem. Some of the other ads that we do, the 1 minute ads, a little bit stronger. Some stations are kind of hesitant to run those, but and it's getting to be less all the time. I think the tide is beginning to turn, gentlemen, but we need to keep pushing and push a little bit harder.
Well,
absolutely.
And I'm glad you said it that way, because the more we push back, the harder they're going to push back.
Yeah.
So we have to remember that when somebody tells you something and you push back against it, their attack is going to increase.
Yeah.
So we just be prepared for that. Don't be surprised about it. Be surprised if it doesn't happen, but be prepared for when it does happen. And that's what we have to do, is we have to prepare ourselves.
Absolutely. Well, good information tonight, gentlemen. Commander, thank you for being with us tonight. Lots of stuff happening in the organization. We're glad you're here to pass that along. And we've got a lot of viewers with us tonight. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead and take our next break. We'll come back and we'll go over a few things happening in the Tennessee division tonight. We've got some business there we want to put out and share with some of our viewers, and we'll be talking with some of them and share some of those comments coming up right after this. Our Southern heritage is under attack. Whose heritage, some may ask? Well, the heritage of those that love God, their families, and their homes. We must stand together and fight back against those who wish to destroy it. The sons of Confederate veterans regard these attacks as frivolous and are committed to preserve and protect our history. We can't do it alone. We need your help. To learn more about membership, visit TennesseeSCV.org. If not us, who? If not now, when?
When my mother was in college, she danced with Confederate veterans. To me, it wasn't that far away. My father knew this. My mother knew this. Almost 50 years ago, I joined the Sons of Confederate Veterans. In those days, we weren't concerned about saving monuments or any of those things. That wasn't necessary. In fact, none of us had any remote idea that it would ever come up. We can't just sit there and react. We have to be proactive. Or, as Robert E. Lee said, the best way to disrupt your enemy's plans is to strike first. Everyone should do all in his power to collect and disseminate the truth, in the hope that it may find a place in history and descend to posterity. History is not the relation of campaigns and battles and generals or other individuals, but that which shows the principles for which the South contended and which justified her struggle for those principles. If you're looking for some place to be where you think you're going to accomplish something to save our history, go to the Sons of Confederate Veterans. I'm Thomas Lee Jesse. I'm a descendant of Private Daughtery Gilmer, a Confederate veteran.
And welcome back into Tennessee Tuesday. I'm your host, John Blankenship, along with my co-host, Jason Boshears. Our guest tonight is Commander-in-Chief of the SCV, Donnie Kennedy. We're glad he's been with us tonight and shared a lot of great information, and we thank you for watching. And again, we've got some of these comments, guys, we want to kind of go through now and get caught up there. There's a lot of folks viewing tonight and sharing our video. So if you're doing that, we say thank you tonight for that. And again, there you see Kim there, a compliment there for their support and attendance at the dedication of the Florida Confederate Soldiers Monument in Jacksonville. Several folks tonight here with us. Also, Tom Wood jumping in. He's proud to have Chuck as his lieutenant coach manager there in HPO, General Hatton Camp. Chuck, great guy there as well. And he said he should have said commander, but I think coach works as well.
Yes, it does.
We'll go with that. Again, let's look at some of those other comments we got here, Jason. Lots of folks that have been saying things tonight. We're going through some of those as you pull those up. Floyd joining us tonight.
Yeah, I think it's great to see you, Mr. Harvey, again. Thank you for joining in, coming there from the Keller camp. I tell you what, They did a great reunion a few years back. I tell you, it was a great reunion.
Yeah, enjoyed being there for that. And look forward to going back one day.
There you go.
Yeah. And Ryan McDonald said this. He's very honored to be a part of this organization. And that's what we want. Is we want everybody to be proud to be a descendant of a Confederate veteran.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I want to say this. I popped this up earlier. The Raphael Sims camp did approach order a Southern Cross for some funding for the monument and order Southern Cross. I want to mention them every opportunity that I can because they are a very benevolent organization.
Absolutely.
They have 25 of the cabinets that are there in the National Confederate Museum come from the Order of Southern Cross. They have done just excellent work all over the Southland, and they're a very good group of men. So, and I just wanted to mention that because they did help with that. Yes.
Yeah, appreciate them doing that and helping make that possible. Another good organization that's helped out a lot, Jason.
Oh, yes, sir. They do a tremendous amount. And Rich Garcia had this to mention earlier. When you were mentioning the Confederate Legion, join the Confederate Legion, pass out the Dixie Defenders, get you some Dixie Defenders, pass them out. My local camp did. We bought them and we pushed them out, got them out to people. And you think, well, how do you do that? Well, I went and got a set of tires put on my truck. And while I was sitting there, I was reading it. And when it was done, all I did was just leave it laying there in the chair beside of me when I walked off. And I don't know whatever happened. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I just want to mention this special issue Dixie Defender any camp, now I want to repeat it, any camp for your local area will help you. We'll give you all the information you need to know on how to create this. Just get a hold of Paul Graham, the Chief of Heritage Operation, and he will give you that information, and we will assist you in putting your own local Dixie Defender together. I'm telling you, it is a firm belief among historians that history is local. If you can attach localness to your total history, it becomes part of my history then, because we're talking about people in my area that my family knew or knew of, and that we are here because of them. That's one of the best ways to advance the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and it's all local. I was told back in 1985 when I joined the SCV that the work of the SCV is done at the local level, at the camp level. National can help. National can help you create these and get these printed up, but it has to be done at the local level. You have to get the information to us. You have to help put it together, and you have to distribute them. But that makes it very, very personal. And it, again, once your people in your local community have a more positive opinion about Confederate veterans, politicians will pay attention when we say, don't mess with our monument. Don't tell us we can't march in this parade. So that's what it takes. Get with it, folks. I told the people in Florida this past weekend, we're on the edge of some major, major victory if we'll just push a little harder, go a little bit, and continue to be dedicated as we have in the past. We can see the end of all this wokeness in our society. I firmly believe that.
I agree with that tonight. And gentlemen, one of the things that we have in Tennessee that's been here for several years is our license plates, our vanity plates that you can get. And a portion of those funds come back to the Tennessee division, which help us do many of the projects we work on, whether it's defending if we've had to go to court for issues. We help preserve flags and so many other things that helps the Tennessee division operate and do what it does is by purchasing these flags. So when you go to your clerk's office and you get your tags renewed, you can change over to these. You pay a little extra fee there, and a portion of that, gentleman, comes back to the Tennessee division. So there's a sample of those plates, and we were discussing this at our last DEC meeting this past weekend, and we know there are many members that do not have these. So we encourage them to do that, but there are members that obviously have them and some that don't. And we want all of our membership to have them, but the general public can purchase these as well. And they're also helping the Sons of Confederate Veterans. So that's another good thing that Tennessee has going for several years. That's very important. It honors our history by having that Confederate battle flag and that SCV logo right there on the plate. And again, it's coming back to benefit our many different projects in Tennessee.
Yes, and it is a rolling billboard. In fact, I can give a direct example that has happened recently, and the commander knows this. I come out of the post office, and there was a gentleman that approached me because of the SCV license plate I have on the back of the truck. Well, we are now advertising on that radio station, WXRQ radio station.
Awesome.
And we have been advertising on it now for several months. We've got new ads that are going to be coming out. As you know, we're preparing because we have a March and April one that we're wanting to do. And, you know, it's just advertising. This come from the license plate. I walked out of the post office and the gentleman stopped me. And after a 5-minute, 10-minute conversation, it turned into a 30-minute conversation and with us advertising. SCV has been advertised on those, and I have heard them. So, you know, and Roy Hudson said this, and I agree with this. We will win with a good offense.
Absolutely.
There comes a time you can't fight if you spend all your time on your heels. You know, you have to get up on your toes and you have to fight. And
listen, fellas, that's why LSU wins so much, because we have a good offense, not just a defense. See if I get anybody angry now. The point is, Jason, you're making the point. A defense is definitely needed, but a defense never wins a ball game. It has to
Good
be
point.
the offense. You've got to be offensive, taking the charge to the enemy and give them cold steel, as Jackson would say. And that's what we will win. We've been good at being defensive, but we've got to go on the offense, and that's what we've been doing the last several years. And I appreciate Jason helping out and really helping to make it happen.
Well, and if we keep it up with the football analogy, a good defense can keep you in the game. But to win it, you have to put points on the board. And you put the points on the board by having a good offense. And, it's just and you mentioned something earlier, and I wanted to pop this up. You go ahead, and I see you had that by Lane.
Go ahead. You're fine.
Yeah. Because you mentioned the Dixie Defender. Chuck Roydhouse, who we were just talking earlier, who's doing the HPO. He said the General Hatton Camp did well passing out the Dixie Defender at the local gun show. So we're doing the right things with this. So you have to get out there and you have to let people know you and see you. And then this is something that I'm happy to see coming back with a full force, and that is SCV first.
That's important.
There have been several people that have that, and Moose has even done a program on it. Harrison has even done a program on the SCV first, and I'm happy to see that coming out and to be talked about. So, but I would just, and I want to thank the commander for the opportunity he has given me to help and to assist. They have him and his twin brother. I'll let them argue over who's the smart one, the good looking one. I'll let them argue all of that out. But to work with them has really been a wonderful experience. And they know how, because there's ways to win every one of these. And they know how to win every one of these. But what I like the most about talking with them and working with them, they're a firm believer in an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Amen.
We need to make it where we don't have to go to any of this, because when somebody comes in and they go, we need to take a monument down, somebody needs to look at them and go, no, we're not even going to talk about that because.
Yeah.
And that just ends it all right there. And that's what I like about it. Yes.
Well, gentlemen, I want to mention this one here because this is a pretty neat idea, something I haven't thought of. Kim here mentions to us, since they don't have the SCV license plates, he ordered a personalized plate with SCV followed by his camp number. Pretty neat idea, because people see those vanity plates and those custom ones, and what does that mean? So a pretty neat idea to promote the SCV without them knowing about it there. I like that. That's another neat idea. So we've got to be out there, gentlemen, in the offensive and doing things. We got to be creative. Our people that are against us, they're creative and very creative. We've got to get ahead of them and to use the mediums that are available to us, like this tonight. This is a chance to promote what we do and why we exist. And it's of it all, we're honoring our ancestors by doing this.
Oh, yes. Yes,
well, gentlemen, so far a great show tonight. We're a little bit past 8 o'clock. We've got a couple of other things. We want to take one more break. Want to go over some SCV business, and we'll wrap up here in just a few minutes as Tennessee Tuesday and SCV Chat continues on this January the 27th.
Was your great-grandfather a traitor or a patriot? Today's politically correct are trying hard to take away the heritage of the brave Confederate soldiers who fought and died for their land. But one thing is certain, they can't change history. Those Confederate soldiers were fighting for the same reason soldiers fight today. They were fighting against homeland invasion. We believe that the desecration of the bravery, patriotism, and honor of those men should not be allowed. They were outmanned and outsupplied, but they were never outfought. They were proud men who believed in fighting to protect their dignity, their homes, and their families. If you're the male descendant of a Confederate soldier, we'd welcome you to join with us in the preservation of that heritage. We're the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Check us out on the internet at scv.org or call us at 800-MY-SOUTH. That's 800-697-6884. Sons of Confederate Veterans, dedicated to preserving the reputation of men like Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and your great-grandfather.
And we're back on Tennessee Tuesday and SCV Chat. We continue on a Tuesday, January the 27th. Gentlemen, I want to take a little moment, as we say, a personal privilege to remember my grandfather, who, if he would have been living, would have been 101 years old today. He was a veteran of World War II and passed away in 97. But I wanted to take that moment to remember him. Of course, he was a grandson of a Confederate soldier who I joined the SCV under. So, wanted to mention him tonight and his sacrifice, and all of our World War II veterans, gentlemen, as we talked about, me and Jason did a few weeks ago, as that generation is just about gone. We're down to the final few of those men that are still here with us. Let's look at something pretty neat. I don't know if y'all saw Eric Pravetti's post, and I didn't ask him for permission to do this, but I wanted to show this video, and I don't know if I can play it well enough. I didn't download it. So if you haven't seen the deer that are moving across, there's Elm Springs in the background, the National Confederate Museum. So some deer are moving through. I think they're in competition on who gets to enjoy some of those. So I thought that was a pretty neat thing that Eric said. And what a great view of Elm Springs in the background. Hopefully he got some good photographs of them there as well. So I appreciate Eric and Adam and all the staff at SCV headquarters and the work they do. Gentlemen, without them, we couldn't do what we do. Because they're working behind the scenes and keeping our organization operating.
Yeah, he did say on Facebook, I noticed that some of the staff will be at headquarters tomorrow, and they'll be getting started back to work now. But I specifically asked them not to have anybody there while it was so dangerous because of the liability and everything. But obviously, I told Adam that you're on the ground there. You know what's good and what's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And he obviously began to open it, I think, from 10 to 3 tomorrow. And as things progress, I'm sure it'll be open even more. So that's just great to have that museum open now. And it's open on weekends. So, folks, tell people about it. Let's spread the word. Let's get a heck of a lot more visitors into that museum.
Absolutely. We appreciate, again, Adam and all the work he's doing there at our museum. And again, those hours, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, these are the regular hours. And then on Saturday also from 9 to 4. So make sure you go to Columbia. Of course, it's here in Tennessee for us, just up the road from me. Jason's the closest than any of us. But I enjoy going there and seeing the work that's been done at our museum. Make your vacation up to Tennessee and to come see the National Confederate Museum. Gentlemen, a couple of other things that are coming up we do want to mention tonight. Jason, you're going to be the guest speaker. You're busy here in the next few weeks. You've got a lot of events you're speaking at. This one's coming up in March as they bring back the General Patrick Claiborne birthday celebration.
Yes, sir. And they've asked me to come and to speak on the first, my first hero, Confederate hero, was Patrick Claiborne. I knew about Patrick Claiborne before I ever knew about Nathan Bedford Forrest because I had two aunts that would argue over how to pronounce it, Claiborne, Cleburne, Clyburn, you know. And we would be going up the road because St. John's Church is just 4 miles up the road.
Yeah.
And that was where Patrick Claiborne was temporarily interred there. You know, he was late when he got killed at the Battle of Franklin. He laid there on the porch at the Carter House. He was taken to Rose Hill Cemetery, was interred there for a day or two. And then they moved him to St. John's. And he stayed there until they come from Arkansas, from Helena. They come and got him and took him there and buried him. And my aunts, as we drove by, they would always argue over how to pronounce, and you know how aunts can be, how
absolutely.
And I knew about Patrick Claiborne before I ever knew about any of the other ones. I was 3 or 4 years old, sitting in the back of a 55 Buick,
A
And
55 Buick. I'm thinking more like a Model T, Jason.
Hey, Jason, was it a 3-hole Buick or a 4-hole Buick? Then I bet you don't even know the difference.
no, sir, I want to hear this.
Yeah.
On the fender, I think the 3-hole was a smaller block engine, or maybe even a 6-cylinder. The 4-hole on the fender on the side, it looked like the exhaust pipes coming out. It was a 4-hole Buick. You had the top of the line, man. Everybody wanted a 4-hole Buick. So a little bit of antique message for you there.
Well, I tell you what, I know where there's a picture of it. I'll look, but I bet you it's a 3-hole because I know my family. So, but kids would be riding in the back seat and hear them arguing about it. So, yes. So, but yes, and they've asked me to speak there, and I'm honored to go speak at the Pat Claiborne dinner.
Yeah, that's going to be another one coming up just down the road. This is on March the 7th, a little bit over a month and a half away. This will be at the Nathan Bedford Forrest Boyhood Home in Chapel Hill. We hold this, the Tennessee Division does it each year, this Confederate Flag Day event and flag retirement celebration and a ceremony, as you can bring your Confederate flags or any flag for that matter. And we will retire those with a ceremony, and we have a program scheduled. There'll be speakers, prayer. Going to be a good time. If you've never been to one of those, we encourage you to come to that. That's on Saturday, March the 7th there at the Nathan Bedford Forrest Boyhood Home. Again, around 11:30 or so, 11 o'clock, we'll open the building there for lunch. A light lunch will be available, and then the ceremony gets started shortly thereafter that. So it's going to be a good event. And bring your Confederate flags. We'll retire those properly there, and we appreciate all those that are participating. Of course, the Tennessee Division, SCV, we have the OCR, the Mechanized Cavalry as well, and probably some others that will help us that day in this flag retirement ceremony. So make plans to be with us then. That's on a Saturday, and we're praying for good weather, and we'll have that rain or shine unless a storm comes through and blows us away.
I just wanted to say David Pope said 3-hole was a super and the 4-hole was a roadmaster.
There you go.
Yes.
Very good.
And I'll say this, that Toby got on there. Toby Oakley has said Patrick Claiborne Monument there in Moortrace back last month. Yes, he does have one there in Moortrace. So, yes. Thank you for cleaning that, Toby.
Well, gentlemen, another thing, we mentioned HK earlier this evening and his passing, of course, one of our true heroes. I know we all look up to and appreciate all he's done for honoring our ancestors, and has really brought the Confederate battle flag in the forefront as a symbol of, some would say, hate, but he has totally turned that around to put it in a positive light. And I issued a proclamation this week for the folks in Tennessee and our membership that have Confederate flags flying, if they would lower those to half staff beginning on Friday the 30th. And the dates and the reasoning behind that is the weekend of his funeral service. So on Friday the 30th, and to remain at half staff at the time of the funeral on the 31st. So we've asked our camps and brigades in the division to do that to honor H.K. Edgerton and his sacrifice he has given of his lifetime to honor the Confederate soldier. And that's not something we do often. That's a very important thing to do that, and wanted to do that in Tennessee with that proclamation. So that's one of our ways to honor HK as well. There is, by the way, gentlemen, a GoFundMe out there that still could use a little extra help that's underway for his funeral services, and his sister-in-law has organized that, and they're pretty close to what they need to help with his funeral. And I've encouraged the folks in our division to personally give. If you would like to help out with that, I did that, and I know many others did. And I know that's always a blessing to a family when finances just might not be there. And of course, the SCV, as Commander Kennedy mentions, has a special memorial service. Commander, when is that again? That's coming up in May, correct?
Yes, the pilgrimage homecoming weekend. So I did the first weekend in May. I think I said it was the 7th, I believe.
It's the 2nd.
Second.
Okay.
First weekend, first Saturday in May.
First Saturday in May's always the pilgrimage and homecoming.
Yes.
And I thought I would put up there that Kentucky will honor HK during his service by lowering all flags in Kentucky Division. And that is from Kentucky Division Commander Kyle Thompson.
Yeah, we
So-
appreciate those that are doing that. Many organizations, and I know other camps I've seen across the Confederation are doing that. So I think that's a very good way to honor his memory. And again, gentlemen, lowering the Confederate flag is not something I take lightly to do that, but I believe he is one of our modern day heroes that has done so much for us that we want to recognize all he has done, and definitely going to miss him.
He will be missed. He will be missed. I guarantee it.
Man, the national reunion won't be the same without him coming in just yelling as he comes in the room. We're sure going to miss him.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, that's all I've got to news-wise from the Tennessee division. A couple of other things I do want to touch on, really event-wise we touched. Jason, let's talk a little bit about this evening, a marker that is now, it's one of the Tennessee state historic markers, the gray markers, if you're familiar with those in Tennessee, the Tennessee Historical Commission approves and puts up. The Guest Hollow historical marker has come up missing in the past couple of years. Now, at this time, we don't know whether that marker is been damaged, taken down, what the reasoning, but we know in late of 2023, that marker was removed. So several of our members have been asking, what is the SCV doing to help with that? As your division commander, I have reached out to the Tennessee Historical Commission and our contact person there that's over the marker program, and I'm waiting to hear back on that to see what it takes to get that replaced, and it honors that little skirmish that took place there. And we want to make sure that is returned. We know there's a cost to put those markers up. By the way, folks that don't know, they're like $2,500 for one of those to be put up. So hopefully this can be covered under that program, and we can get that marker back up. Anything that honors something Nathan Bedford Forrest was involved in, we want to be able to help with that. So know that that's being worked on, and your command staff in the Tennessee division is working there. Gentlemen, also Fort Pillow, and Commander-in-Chief, you may know a little bit about this. An effort has been kind of brought up in Tennessee to turn that state park over to the national federal government, that it becomes a national park. And that's something we strongly oppose in Tennessee, that happens. We want to keep that local control of that park. Gentlemen, we all know what happens when the national federal government takes it over. It's going to become woke. It's going to become politically correct. They're going to change the narrative. So we've worked with state representatives and senators in Tennessee that we feel pretty confident now that's not going anywhere. Good. That it will stay under Tennessee control. So Mark Buchanan, who is over our heritage operations here, is doing a great job staying on top of things like that. That we want to keep Fort Pillow and the true story and the true history, but that being honored. So gentlemen, y'all know what that's about. You've seen this happen, and y'all feel free to jump in and comment what happens when the federal government and the national parks take these sites over.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Jason, did y'all not use the one-click politics in this effort at some point in time? I thought
no, sir. We actually go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Commander.
No. I was wondering if you had, because if you had not, and you do need to do so, by all means, use it to get your members to get hold of representatives. But it sounds like you may be headed in the right direction right now, anyway.
Yes, sir. And it was talked about. In fact, I even contacted you about us being able to use one-click politics to be able to do this. We were already having conversations with people, and this has been attempted several times in the past.
Yeah.
And so this is not the first time that this has come up. It just never got any traction.
Good.
And it never has gotten any traction to do it. So the people want to leave it as a state park. They want Fort Pillow to be a state park. So,
and that's what we're going to work on. That's what we're going to use our contacts and our efforts to make sure that stays, that true history is told.
And it needs to be a state park.
Yeah, it needs to remain a state park. And of course, the Tennessee division working strong on that. And we thank Commander Donnie Kennedy for allowing us to use the one-click politics. If that's needed, that's an avenue that we have to put out there to our membership. Say, hey, we need your help. Contact your state representatives, contact your state senators.
Yeah.
Let them know it's a really easy thing to do. And of course, if that's needed, we will put that out to our membership. Gentlemen, it's been a good evening. It's about 8:20 on a cold Tuesday night. Commander-in-Chief Donnie Kennedy has been our guest tonight. Commander, always glad to have you here, of course, on SCV Chat, and glad to have you a first-time guest on Tennessee Tuesday.
It has been my honor. Thank y'all, both of you gentlemen, for all you're doing. Hey, we're all in this together. We're fighting the just cause for our ancestors. One day, when we cross over the river, I hope to see them pat us on the back and say, thank you, gentlemen. You were right. You stood up for us. God bless you. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely.
Yes, and I wanted to bring this up because John had put this up there. This is also for Kim Hofecker.
Mhm.
He said that he's, while listening, I'm taking care of my 3 postcards
Read
from the
that.
Confederate veteran.
I read that.
Yes, he is doing that as we do it.
Right.
Now, Commander Kennedy is going to be joining us in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Let's see. What have I zipped right past it? David Pope was
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about you coming and speaking at a Lee Jackson.
Yes.
I believe it is on. There it is. I
February
believe
7th.
it is going to be on February 7th. Yes.
February the 7th. I'm assuming that y'all are not going to snow me in like they did in Florida. I went to Florida and they just snowed me in, I swear. You know, it's a heck of a note to go to Florida and worry about snow on your way home.
Oh, my goodness.
It'll be a good event coming up on February the 7th. Looking forward to having the Commander-in-Chief in Tennessee. Gentlemen, before we wrap up tonight, the final thing I want us to mention is the National Confederate or the SCV National Reunion, the 131st annual event that's going to be in Lexington, Kentucky. That's coming up in July, so you need to make your plans to be there if you haven't already done so. Again, the website you can go to is 131scv.org. You can get registered. You'll find hotel information. The guys there in Lexington doing a great job putting this together. And Commander Kennedy, anything you want to comment on? No, I know it's an election year, so it's going to be a busy time.
It's a great time to have an election because I'm not running for anything except past Commander-in-Chief.
And you get to run for that, but actually you just get that one free of charge.
Man, that's beautiful.
Well, we do appreciate all your work that you've done and continue to do for our organization. Of course, the Kennedy name, long recognized with anything Confederate. You go back to the South, it was right. And when was that book first come out?
I think it was 91, the first edition, 94, second edition, and 2020 for the third edition. And as of right now, we've already had somewhere around 170,000 copies purchased. So that's outstanding as far as I'm concerned. But it wasn't because Ron and I were so great. It's because we gave information that Southerners and Northerners wanted to hear. They wanted to hear the other side. And that's why I'm so convinced that we in the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we can grow much bigger, much stronger because really America is on our side.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, let's go ahead and wrap this evening up as we're going to close out tonight. And as we end the show, I want to leave you with H.K. Edgerton's rendition of Dr. Michael Bradley's poem, I Am Their Flag. We'll close with that tonight. Again, Commander-in-Chief Donnie Kennedy has been our guest. Jason Boshears is my host. We're so glad he's been with us tonight. We do hope you have a safe rest of this evening. We'll be back next week here on Tennessee Tuesday. Gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
That was written by Dr. Michael Bradley, the past commander of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, in the great state of Tennessee. It's called I Am Their Flag. When faced with change, they could not accept. The mighty men of valor began to gather. Brothers, native to the southern soil, they pledged themselves to a cause, the cause of defending family, fireside, and faith. Between the desolation of war and their homes, they interposed their bodies and chose me, the Christian cross of St. Andrew, the first apostle of Jesus Christ, as their symbol. I am their flag. I was at Sumter when they began the jubilation. I was at Big Bethel when the infantry fired its first volley. I smelled the gun smoke along Bull Run in Virginia and at Belmont along the Mississippi. I was in a debacle at Fort Donelson. I led Jackson up the valley. For 7 days I felt in the turgid air of the James River bottom as McClellan ran from before Richmond. Sidney Johnson would die for me at Shiloh, as would thousands of others whose graves are marked Sine, Nominee, without a name unknown. I am their flag. I was a shroud for the body of Stonewall after Chancellorsville. Men ate rats and mule meat to keep me flying over Vicksburg. I tramped across the wheat fields with Kemper, Armistead, and Garnett at Gettysburg. I know the thrill of victory, the misery of defeat, the bloody cost of both. I am their flag. When the end came at Appomattox, when the last Johnny Reb left Durham Station, many carried fragments of my fabric hidden under their bodies. In the hard years of so-called Reconstruction, in the difficulty and despair of the years that slowly passed, the veterans, their wives, their sons, their daughters, they loved me. They kept alive the tales of valor, the legends of bravery. They passed them on to the grandchildren, and they to their children, and my God, I hope they were passed on to you. I am their flag. I was rolled in blood at Franklin, stiff with ice at Nashville. Many good men bade me farewell at Sailor's Creek. I am enshrined in the hearts of millions, living and dead. Salute me with affection and reverence. Keep undying devotion in your hearts. I, the Southern Cross, I, the Christian Cross of St. Andrew. I am history. I am heritage, not hate. I am the inspiration of valor from the past. Look away, Dixieland. I am their flag. God bless you, and God bless Dixie.
Was your great-grandfather a traitor or a patriot? Today's politically correct are trying hard to take away the heritage of the brave Confederate soldiers who fought and died for their land. But one thing is certain, they can't change history. Those Confederate soldiers were fighting for the same reason soldiers fight today. They were fighting against homeland invasion. We believe that the desecration of the bravery, patriotism, and honor of those men should not be allowed. They were outmanned and outsupplied, but they were never outfought. They were proud men who believed in fighting to protect their dignity, their homes, and their families. If you're the male descendant of a Confederate soldier, we'd welcome you to join with us in the preservation of that heritage. We're the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Check us out on the internet at scv.org or call us at 800-MY-SOUTH. That's 800-697-6884. Sons of Confederate Veterans, dedicated to preserving the reputation of men like Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and your great-grandfather.